Hi, it's Josie, and today I want to talk to you about canter and your canter seat. First of all, I want you to realise that a canter seat is a very active seat. You don't just sit there. So when horses canter, the canter starts with the outside hind leg. It comes under, and this, my hand's your horse's back, it lifts the horse's back up and the front comes up. Then it is the diagonal pair, so it's the outside front and the inside hind. And so the horse gets lifted up, then he goes horizontal, and then he's down on his inside front leg, and he can be a little bit downhill. So it sort of goes outside hind, horizontal for the diagonal pair, and down as the leading leg comes down. So within that movement, the saddle on the horse's back comes up, well, we're sort of almost back up, horizontal, down. And you need to be following that as the rider. And that all that work happens from the waist down. So your shoulders should be up nice and straight. Basically your pelvis should sit so that it can spin around almost as if it was very flexible with just your two seat bones. Imagine just my skeletal pelvis sitting on this saddle and my legs hanging from it, and my hip joints, the ball and joint socket in here is supposed to be, poor old Rebel, he doesn't know what to do when I do this stuff, is supposed to be very movable and flexible. So the canter starts from here, this joint here, moving. So as the horse comes up with the outside hind leg underneath, the saddle comes up, this joint needs to close a little and then open as he goes horizontal and then down in the front. So you need to be very flexible in your hip, in your hip joint, literally your ball and socket joint, and your back does have something to do with it. Okay, so your back needs to be soft and supple so that the S-curve of your spine, can just move. Let's see if we can show you some of that. So as Rebel's cantering here, my hip joint here is opening and closing as he comes up. See if you can watch the footfalls, outside hind, horizontal front, and see what this joint here is doing. If you're banging in the saddle, chances are, sorry Rebel, he's not going to like this, I'm leaning forward now and I can't keep my butt in the saddle. One of the things my coach did with me was put me on the lunge and got me to lean back. Now, she actually only got me to go horizontal because I was a terrible lean forwarder, but I honestly, see if I can get this horse going, felt like I was leaning back like this. Don't fall over, mate. But as you can see, as I lean back here, all of this really opens up, and it gave me the feeling of what my pelvis should be doing for my butt to stay in the saddle. Now, I'm not gripping with my legs. They are not on. I'm balanced here with my core strength. So I was telling you about having an active seat in canter, and I want to show you how that looks from the ground. Now, it's not 100% how it looks, because in reality, when you're cantering on a horse, you're sitting almost suspended around something that's moving underneath you, whereas the ground is still. But it's an active hip. You don't just sit there, okay? If you're just going to sit there like this, you're going to be bumping and banging all over the place. Canter, your hips do this. So remember I told you this joint opens and closes. So it literally is a roundabout movement. And I was saying here, I think this part of the movement, I think up, up, up. I bring the horse up underneath me with my seat. If you're on the bit, your elbow and your upper arm have to make that same opening and closing of angles as your femur and your hip joint, your ball and socket joint in your arm do. Otherwise you are, I can't actually do it without being on a horse. Otherwise you're banging your horse in the mouth. But this bit goes, it's active. So get in the saddle and play with it. Don't just sit there stiff. If you're sitting stiff and you're banging, think, oh, lean a bit more forward. How does that go? I can tell you right now it will be worse. Lean a little bit back. How does that go? Oh, okay, now I can feel how my hips open and close. I was always taught to think about when you're a kid and you're in the swing and you're trying to push the swing higher. And that's a reasonably good analogy, except I found that way I push down into the horse. That's when I stopped thinking about pushing and lifting. So when the swing's going through the bottom of the swing, you literally allow your hips to go down, and then as it comes up, you think about bringing your core up. So canter is an active movement in your hips here. You do not just sit there quietly. That's the worst piece of advice I think anyone can give somebody that rides a horse, is to sit still. Because you do not sit still riding a horse. Rise, trot, sit, trot, and canter, you are actively doing things with your body. It's just that you are doing them in time with the horse's movement, which allows you to have the appearance of sitting still. So another good exercise to help you learn to keep your upper body up nice and tall and not be leaning is to pick up canter. And if you're comfortable with your horse, put both reins in your outside hand. Don't worry about what he does with his head. Take your inside hand and reach up. Now, it's not like you want to go to the toilet and you're in the classroom. It's just nicely tall, stretched, and you've just got the tone a dancer would have in their body. You can take your legs away if you can and see if you can stay in the saddle with your horse. Now it's active. I'm going up, up. It's a bit like the rising trot video. Here I think, hang on, I'll try and time it for you. Up, 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 up. So I almost feel like I suck him up with my seat. Up, 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 up. Good boy, Rebel. Good, good. If your horse is on the bit, you need to have very good soft elbows and hands in canter, because your horse's head moves as he moves through the canter stride. And so your elbows need to be soft and your hands almost sort of do like a little circle. If I kept my hands still there, see, it bangs, sorry mate, it bangs him in the mouth. So I hope you're enjoying the videos I'm popping out. I'm really having a great time doing them. If you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye bye.